Scripture portions of the day. Day 303.
John 11, OANT. And a certain man was sick, Lazarus, the town of Bethany, the brother of Miriam and Martha. This Miriam was the one who was anointed the feet of Yeshua with ointment, and wiped them with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. And these two sisters sent to Yeshua, and they were saying, Our Lord, behold, he whom you have loved is sick. And Yeshua said, Sickness is not of death, but the glory of Elohim, for the Son of Elohim may be glorified because of it. Now Yeshua did love Martha and Mary and Lazarus, and after he had heard that he was sick, he remained in the place where he was for 2 days. After this, he said to the disciples, Come, we shall go to Judea. His disciples were saying to him, Our Rabbi, the Judeans had been just now seeking to stone you, and you're going to go there again? And Yeshua said to them, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If a man walks in the daylight, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. And if a man walks in the night, he stumbles, because there is no light in him. With these things Yeshua said, and afterwards he said to them, Lazarus, our friend, is resting, and I'm going that I may wake him. And his disciples were saying to him, Our Lord, if he is sleeping, he'll recover health. But Yeshua spoke about his death, and they had thought he had been talking about him lying down, taking sleep. Then Yeshua said to them plainly, Lazarus has died, and I am glad that it was not there for your sakes, that you may believe, but you should go there. Thomas, who is called the twin, also of his few disciples, let us go also and die with him. Yeshua came to Bethany, and he found that he had been there for 4 days in his tomb. But Bethany was, besides Jerusalem, separated from it from about 15 furlongs. Now the Judeans were coming to Martha and Mary to comfort their hearts concerning their brother. But when Martha heard that Yeshua had come, she went out to meet him, and Miriam was sitting in the house. And Martha said to Yeshua, My Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that as much as you ask Elo-heem, he gives to you. And Yeshua said to her, Your brother shall arise. Martha said to him, I know that he shall rise in the resurrection of the last day. Yeshua said to her, I am the living Elo-heem, the resurrection and the life. Whoever trusts in me, even if he dies, he shall live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. But do you believe this? And he said to him, Yes, my Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of Elo-heem, who has come into the world. And when he had said these things, she went and called Miriam, her sister, secretly. And she said to her, Our Rabbi is come, and he called for you. And when Miriam heard, she rose quickly and came to him. But Yeshua had not yet come to the village, but he was in the place where he met Martha. But the Judeans also, who were with her in the house, who were comforting her, seeing Miriam rise quickly and going out, went after her, and they thought she went into the tomb to weep. But Miriam, when she came where Yeshua was and saw him, she fell before his feet, and she said to him, My Lord, if you had only had come here, my brother would have not died. But Yeshua saw that she wept, and those Jews that had come with her weeping, and he was powerfully moved in the spirit, and his soul was moved. And he said, Where have you laid him? And they were saying, Come, see, Lord. And the tears of Yeshua were coming, and the Judeans were saying, See how much he loved him. But some of them said, Was not this the one who could have opened the eyes of the blind, was not able to cause even this one should not have died? But Yeshua, being powerfully moved in himself, came to the tomb, and the tomb, cave, and the stone had been placed over its doorway. And Yeshua said, Take away this stone. Martha, the sister of him who had died, said to him, My Lord, right now it's putrid, for it has been 4 days. And Yeshua said to her, Did I not tell you that I would do, if you believe, you would see the glory of Elohim? And they took away that stone, and Yeshua himself lifted his eyes above, and he said, Father, I thank you that you've heard me. And now I know that you always hear me. But for the sake of this crowd, that it stands here, I said these things. and that they may believe that you have sent me. And when he said these things, he cried in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And he who had died came out, while his hands and his feet were bound in the swaddling bands, and his face was bound in a turban. Yeshua said to them, unbind him and let him go. And many of the Judeans who had come to Miriam, when they saw the thing that Yeshua did, believed in him. And some of them went to the Pharisees and told them the things which Yeshua did. And the chief priests and the Pharisees were gathered, and they were saying, what shall we do? This man has done a great miracle. And if we allow him to do so, all the people will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away our position and our nation. But one of them, whose name was Caiaphas, was the high priest that year. And he said to them, you know nothing, and you do not consider this is profitable for us, that one man should die instead of the nation, and not that the whole nation should perish. But this he said not of his own accord, because he was yet the high priest that year. He prophesied that Yeshua was going to die for the nation, and not only in his place of the nation, but also for the children of Elo-heem, who had been scattered. He would gather together into one. And from that day they planned to kill him. But Yeshua was not walking openly with the Judeans, but he went from there to the region of Arba, for the fortress city which is called Ephraim, and there he was employed with his disciples. But the Passover of the Jews was drawing near. Many came out from the villages of Jerusalem before the feast of purifying of their souls. And they were seeking for Yeshua, and they were saying to one another in the temple, what do you think? Will he come to the feast? But the chief priests and the Pharisees ordered that if anybody knew where he was, they would show them, so that they may seize him. Revelations 9. OANT. And the fifth sounded, and I saw a star that fell from the sky to the earth, and the key of the pit of the abyss was given to it. And the smoke came from the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, which was heated, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. And from the smoke locusts went out over the earth, and power was given to them which the scorpions of the earth have. And it was told them not to harm the grass of the earth, neither any greenery, nor the trees, but only the people who do not have the seal of Elohim on their foreheads. It was given to them not to kill them, but that they would suffer pain for 5 months, for their torment was like the torment of scorpions when it attacks a man. And in those days will seek death, and will not find it, and they will long to die, and death will flee from them. And the form of the locusts was like the form of horses prepared for battle, and upon their heads was crowns of the likeness of gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. And they had hair like of women, and their teeth were like those of lions. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like scorpions, and sting of their tails, and their authority is to hurt people for 5 months. There is a king over them, the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Avadu, and in the Aramaic his name is Sharar. One woe is gone. Behold, again 2 woes are coming. After these things the 6th angel sounded, and I heard one voice from the 4 horns of the altars of gold, which is before Elo-heem, which said to the 6th angel that the trumpet, loose the 4 angels imprisoned at the great river Euphrates. And those 4 angels were released, who were prepared for an hour, and for a day and a month, and for a year, to kill 1/3 of the children of men. For the number of the army of horsemen were 10,000, 10,000, 10,000s, and I heard their number. And in this way I saw the horses in the vision, and those sitting upon them had breastplates of fire, and chalcedony, brimstone, and the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and the fire and the brimstone and the smoke proceeded out of their mouth. And by these 3 scourges 1/3 of the children of men were killed, by the fire, by the brimstone, by the smoke that proceeds out of their mouths, because of the power of the horses that is in their mouths, and also in their tails. And the rest of the children of men who were not killed by the scourges did not turn from the work of their hand, to not worship devils and idols of gold, of silver, brass, of wood and stone, which do not see, neither hear, nor are able to walk. And they did not turn from their murders, of their witchcraft, or of their fornication. Revelations 10. OANT. And I saw another angel who descended from heaven, and wore a cloud, and a rainbow on the sky of his head. And his appearance was like the sun, and his legs like pillars of fire. And he had a small scroll opened in his hand, and he placed it in his right foot on the sea, but the left on the earth. And he shouted with a loud voice, like a roaring lion. When he shouted, 7 thunders spoke with their voices. And when the 7th thunder spoke, I was ready to write, and I heard a voice from the 7th heaven, which said, Seal that which the 7 thunders spoke, and do not write it. And the angel whom I saw was standing on the sea, and upon the dry land, raising his hand to heaven. And he swore by him who lives to the eternity of eternities, him who created heaven and that which is in it, and the earth which is in it, time shall be no more. But in the days of the 7th angel, when he shall sound, the mystery of Elo-heem is completed, which he evangelized to his servants, the prophets. And I heard a voice from heaven again speaking with me, and it said, Go, take the little scroll which is in the hand of the angel who stand on the land upon the sea. And I went to the angel, and I told him to give me a little scroll, and he said to me, Take, eat it, and your belly will be bitter to you, but it will be like honey in your mouth. And I took the little scroll from the hand of the angel, and I ate it, and it was like sweet honey in my mouth. And when I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said to me, The time is given to you again to prophesy unto the nations and peoples, languages, and many kings.
Deuteronomy 11. Septuagint. Therefore you shall love the Lord thy God, and observe his appointments, and his ordinances, and his commandments, and his judgments always. And ye shall know this day, for speak not to your children who know not and have not seen the discipline of the Lord thy God, and his wonderful works, and his strong hand, and his miracles, and his wonders, which he wrought in the midst of Egypt, on Pharaoh king of Egypt, and all his land, and that he did in the hosts of the Egyptians, to their chariots, and their cavalry and their hosts, and he made the water of the Red Sea to overwhelm the face of them that pursue after you. And the Lord destroyed them unto this, and all the things which he did to you in the wilderness until you came into this place, and all the things that he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the sons of Reuben, whom the earth opened her mouth, swallowed up, and their houses, their tents, and all their substance, that which was with them, in the midst of all of Israel. For your eyes have seen all the mighty works of the Lord, which you have wrought among you today. And you shall keep all his commandments, as many as I command thee today, that ye may live and be multiplied, that ye may go into inherit the land, into which you go across Jordan to inherit, that ye may live long upon the land, which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them and to their seed after them, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land into which thou goest is not as the land of Egypt, whence you came out. Whensoever they sow the seed and the water with their feet, as a gardener of the herb. But the land into which thou goest to it is a land of mountains and plains, and it shall drink water of the rain of the heavens. A land which the Lord thy God surveys continually. The eyes of the Lord thy God are upon it from the beginning of the year. Now if you indeed hearken to all the commands I charge thee, to love the Lord thy God, and to serve him with all your heart, with all thy soul, then he shall give to thy land the early and the latter rain in its season, and thou shalt bring it into thy corn and thy wine and their oil, and he shall give food in thy field to thy cattle, when thou hast eaten art full. Take heed to thyself that thy heart not be puffed up, and ye transgress and serve other gods, and worship them. And the Lord be angry with you, and restrain the heaven, and there shall not be rain, and the earth shall not yield its fruit, and ye shall perish quickly off the good land which the Lord has given you. And you shall store these words in your heart and in your soul, and you shall bind them as a sign in your hand, and they shall be fixed before you. And you shall teach them to your children, so as to speak about them when you sit in the house, when you walk by the way, and when you rise up. And you shall write them on the lintels of your houses and on your gates, that your days may be long, and days of your children, upon the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. And it shall come to pass, that if ye will indeed hearken to all these commands which I charge you this day, to observe, to love the Lord your God, and to walk in his ways, and to cleave close to him, then the Lord shall cast all these nations, and you shall inherit the great nations, and stronger than yourself. Every place whereon the sole of your feet will tread shall be yours, from the wilderness of Anti-Libanus, and from the great river, the Euphrates, even as far as the west sea shall be to your. No one shall stand before you. The Lord your God will put the fear of you and the dread of on the face of all the land in which ye shall tread, as he has told you. Behold, I set before you this day the blessing and the curse. The blessing if you hearken to the commands of the Lord your God, and all that I command you this day. And the curse if you do not hearken to the commands of the Lord your God, as many have commanded you this day, and you wander from the way which I have commanded you, having gone to serve other gods which ye know. And it shall come to pass, that when thy God shall have brought thee into the land in which thou goest over to inherit it, then thou shalt put blessings on the Mount Gerizim, and the cursings on Mount Gebal. Lo, are not these beyond Jordan, behind, westward in the land of Canaan, which lies westward near Gal, by the high oak? For ye are passing over Jordan, to go in and inherit the land, which the Lord your God gives you to inherit always, and you shall dwell in it. And you shall take heed to do all these ordinances and these judgments, as many as I set before you today.
Ezekiel 35, Septuagint. And the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Seir, and prophesy against it, and say to it, Thus says Jehovah Elohim, Behold, I am against thee, O Mount Seir, and will stretch out my hand against thee, and will make thee a waste, and thou shalt be made desolate. And I will cause desolation in my cities, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Jehovah. Because thou hast prepared a perpetual enemy, and hast laid wait craftily for the house of Israel, with the hand of enemies with the sword, in the time of injustice, at the last. Therefore, as I live, says Jehovah Elohim, therefore thou hast sinned even to blood, therefore blood shall pursue thee. And I will make Seir a waste and a desolate, and I will destroy from off it men and cattle. And I will fill thy hills and thy valleys with slain men. In all thy plains there shall fall in thee men slain with the sword. I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and that thy cities shall not be inhabited any more, and thou shalt know that I am Jehovah. Because thou said, The two nations and the two countries shall be mine, and I shall inherit them, whereas Jehovah is there. Therefore, as I live, saith Jehovah, I will even deal with thee according to thine enmity, and I will be made known to thee when I shall judge thee, and thou shalt know that I am Jehovah. I have heard the voice of thy blasphemies, whereas thou hast said, The desert mountains of Israel are given to us for food, and thou hast spoken swelling words against me with thy mouth. I have heard them. Thus saith Jehovah, When all the earth is rejoicing, I will make thee a desert. Thou shalt be a desert, O Mount Seir, and all of Idumeam, and it shall be utterly consumed, and you shall know that I am Jehovah their Elohim. Proverbs 12, Septuagint. He that loves instruction loves sense, but he that hates reproof is a fool. He that has found favor with Jehovah is made better, but the transgressor shall be passed over in silence. A man shall not prosper by wickedness, but the roots of the righteous shall not be taken up. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but as a worm in wood, so a bad woman destroys her husband. The thoughts of the righteous are true judgments, but ungodly men devise deceits. The words of ungodly men are crafty, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. When the ungodly is overthrown, he vanishes away, but the house of the just remains. The mouth of the understanding man is praised by a man, but he that is dull of heart is had in derision. Better is a man in dishonor serving himself than one honoring himself and wanting bread. A righteous man has pity for lives for his cattle, but the bowels of the ungodly are unmerciful. He that tills his land shall be satisfied with bread, But they that pursue vanities are void of understanding. He that enjoys himself in banquets and wine shall leave dishonored in his own strongholds. The desires of the ungodly are evil, but the roots of the godly are firm set. For the sin of his lips a sinner falls in the snare, but the righteous man escapes from them. He whose look are gentle shall be pitied, but he that contends in the gates will afflict souls. The soul of a man shall be filled with good from the fruits of his mouth, and the recompense of his lips shall be given to him. The ways of fools are right in their own eyes, but the wise man hearkens to counsel. A fool declares his wrath the same day, but the prudent man hides his own disgrace. A righteous man declares open truth, but the unjust witness is deceitful. Some wound as they speak, like swords, but tongues of the wise heal. True lips establish testimony, but a hasty witness has an unjust tongue. There is deceit in the heart of the imaginations of men, but they that love peace shall rejoice. No injustice shall please a just man, but the ungodly will be filled with mischief. Lying lips are the abomination to Elo-heem, but he that does faithfully is accepted with him. An understanding man is a throne of wisdom, but the heart of fools shall meet with curses. The hand of a chosen man shall easily obtain rule, but the deceitful shall be for a prey. A terrible word troubles the heart of righteous men, but a good message rejoices him. Just as an arbitrator shall be his own friend, but mischief shall pursue sinners, and the way of ungodly men shall lead them astray. A deceitful man shall catch no game, but a blameless man is a precious possession. In the way of righteousness is life, but the way of those that remember injury leads to death.